I have a theological question for you. Can God create a rock so heavy that God cannot lift it? Can God, Almighty God, create a rock so heavy that God's self, cannot lift it? Yes or no? Well, the question itself carries an agenda. It's intentionally confusing. Enquiries like this present an intellectual challenge. They're meant to discover how you, the respondent, see things. If you answer yes, that God can create such a rock, it suggests that you believe that God's omnipotence has limits. In your opinion, there are some things that God cannot change. However, if you say no, God cannot create a rock that God cannot lift, you're indicating that you think there's a limit to God's creative power. The question presents an irresolvable contradiction. Either way, your answer is wrong. But that doesn't matter. The question isn't constructed for a correct answer. It's designed to aggravate. In many cases, inquirers ask this kind of question, to catch you off guard. Interrogations like this expose vulnerability and create confusion. I'm sorry to say that often inquirers, they want you to say the wrong thing. And then they can use your answer to show you up, teach you a lesson. It seems that's the kind of question that the Pharisees asked Jesus in today's gospel. They were trying to entrap him, to expose Jesus for the phony and bothersome teacher they thought he was. And with this revelation exposed in his incorrect answer, they could call him out. And it would get him into trouble. Perhaps when crowds heard Jesus say the wrong thing, they'd give up following him. Maybe even they'd cancel him. But Jesus' answer to the Pharisees circumvented their intentions. It wasn't what they expected. No yes or no was forthcoming. Jesus knew they were setting a trap. He understood that their question wasn't designed to elicit an edifying answer about what was right and fair. No. It was meant to disconcert and cause a rift. Consequently, Jesus answered them in his own way, differently. My social media feeds are filled with people answering questions right now. Questions maybe folk don't even realize they're being asked. Whose lives are more valuable? These people or those? Who has a right, a moral imperative to kill? This group or that group? Who is evil? This nation or the other one? Of course, these questions themselves have no right answer. Not really. Yet often, without even being directly asked, people are answering them without hesitation and wind up saying some very troubling and dangerous things. Answers people give to highly provocative questions like the ones people are grasping with now give voice to how people feel. They're expressing anger and fear and frustration. And all of this, it reflects different individuals' experiences of life and the world. And it also reflects the thought processes behind the screens and the allegiances and viewpoints that have developed from them. But people's responses also show their fragility and disorientation. In trying to answer an unanswerable question, like who should kill whom, we put ourselves in intractable situations. And our responses, perhaps even well-meaning, can position us on the wrong side of justice and righteousness. It's important to recognize that the efforts to answer some questions, they're futile. And perhaps that's no wonder why some feel paralyzed, fearing to say anything at all. But many want to say something. And that is right. Folk are venting outrage at the inhumanity of violence and hate. Heaven knows we need more of that indignation. This is not the time to wait and see what might happen. Now is the time to reach out to those in need, to check in with our friends who are hurting, and to do everything we can to make peace. It is time to say something. But it's time we say the right thing. And to do that, you and I must carefully consider how we'll answer the questions we're being asked. Will our responses to others give them a better understanding of who we are and what we think? Will they speak of God's love for all of humankind? Or will we offer an answer that dishonors us and undermines the dignity of human life? In our eagerness to combat hate, let us not fall victim to it. Some will hope we will. So let us make sure that those wishing to stoke anger and animosity aren't given the means to do it. Consider the situation. Are we being driven into conversations designed to inflame and distort? Are we being baited? Baited with questions not constructed to illuminate and reconcile. In fact, are the questions we're trying to answer even the right ones? If not, don't answer them. Avoid the trap and respond differently.